Ah, lovely. And let me just take a moment here to set myself up so I can remember what I want to be sharing with you. Some ordinary moments of equanimity. And as I was thinking about this talk, I was really feeling how much I'm coming to appreciate how all the teachings intertwine. And you can enter from various places. And just like life, the teachings they're all connected. If not this, not that, if this is, then that is. And Bill and Susan have helped us establish our foundation in creating our inner holding environment that we revisit every time we gather, every time we sit, creating that grounded, calm, safe, steady base, a place from which we can begin to notice whatever arrives, as Rumi writes about a guest house, welcoming all, a crowd of sorrows or a gaggle of joys, welcome them all at the door smiling, a place where, to use David's image of a grandmother equanimity, grandmother heart mind, who can offer us a comforting hug, a soothing cup of tea to ease our sadnesses or stresses, or where we can celebrate our joys and the joys of others. From this place, this inner holding space, we can cultivate the Brahma Viharas that we've been focusing on for this past year almost now. Through our practice, we've created a place from which the Brahma Viharas can grow. As Dawn pointed out, this year of cultivating the immeasurables has been so rich. I'm just continually in awe of the fruits of the practice that appear. How each topic we focus on and cultivate in its own way sprouts and blooms and blossoms. From the safety and steadiness of our holding environment, the willingness and courage to look and see, to explore a bit more, to open our heart minds a bit more comes forth. We come to see our habitual conditioned reactivity or our propensities. I love that word, as Pema Chodron refers to these habitual patterns, conditioned reactions. We can begin to see ourselves from that more spacious, equanimous, mindful, less personal perspective. We can see, hear, experience ourselves with the kind and wise heart mind of a beloved benefactor. That grandmother equanimity presence with a heart wide enough to hold all of us, all of my messiness. And I'd like to share just one experience I had recently that kind of, to me, embodies a lot of this. I usually get up early and go for a sunrise walk, and I got up a few days ago, went on my usual walk, a bit later than usual, and I thought, oh, I'm late. You know, nobody cares, it doesn't matter, but I'm thinking I'm late. Yeah, no. You know, silly me. So, but I walk out being kind of rushed because I'm thinking I'm late. And there's this glorious sky, you know, with the light blues just beginning to appear. And the clouds are tinged with a pinkness that you only see, you know, in these early pre-sunrise hours. And this is where I would typically habitually flip out my phone to take a picture. Okay. That's my conditioned propensity. But fortunately, in one of my sanghas, we'd had a discussion based on a section of Kevin Griffin's book, Recovery Joy, titled Present for the Richness of Life. And I'll post that in the chat a bit later. And in this discussion, we talked about our desire, our chasing after, capturing moments in pictures, how to capture the impermanent in photographs, and how we'd often miss out on the moment-to-moment experience in trying to get just the perfect photo. So with that in mind, I made the choice not to bring out my camera. And my hand was right there in my pocket, gripping the camera, you know, hand on camera in pocket. And I could feel the inner laughter bubbling up at my foolishness of trying to make permanent this glorious impermanent moment. And just was able to gently practice opening up my heart just to this moment, just as it was. I began to notice more than just the visual beauty, but I began to notice sounds, and that it was a bit of a windy morning. So the wind was rustling the leaves that remained on the trees, and I could really hear that, as well as I could hear a motorcycle driving by in the early morning hour, and appreciate that. Let that in while noticing and releasing my propensity to aversion for traffic noises. There it is, there's my aversion. And I realized I could feel that. My ongoing restraint not to grab my camera, my propensity for aversion, alongside of savoring the glorious blue and pink and gradually lightening sky, and see the ducks flying overhead over the pond, and the reflection of the sky in the pond, and the motorcycle, and the sound of the leaves rustling. And appreciating this as a moment of equanimity. I didn't have to push away the feeling of restraint in order to enjoy the sunrise. It was part of the experience. This equanimity was allowing me to take in so much more. And I noticed that the wind sounded different when it swept through the branches of a pine tree, a shushing, quieter, softer sound than the rattling of the wind through the leaves of the oaks and the maples. Each awareness seemed to open into a new awareness. I noticed that the sound of the wind brushing the leaves of the bushes made an even different sound, a quieter rustling than the rattling of the trees. And my heart was just bursting open with all the sounds and the sights of the experienced. And I realized I'm hearing not just with my ears, but with my heart and ears, and seeing with my eyes and my heart. I'm experiencing all together with my ears and my heart and my eyes. And I could even feel and hear the wind brushing across my skin, and even through the shortness of my hair. Appreciating the changes from moment to moment. And even the restraint that was still there moment to moment, with my hand still on my camera in my pocket, and feel the muscles of my hand and arm restraining, not grabbing, not pulling out, not snapping a picture, as well as the laughter at the recognition of the restraint and that effort that it took. It was all part of this glorious, remarkable experience. And being so grateful for my Sangha and just being in the situation where I was able to hear and take in that teaching about appreciating the moment and what I would have missed had I just taken a picture and walked on. But also, as I was experiencing this engagement with the moment and how lovely and joyful it was, equanimity also helped me to be aware of not getting caught in the trap of overexuberance. And that doesn't mean not engaging with, or it doesn't mean detaching from, as Dawn pointed out, it doesn't mean indifference to. It reminded me of the impermanence of this moment and also of the reality that there are many who don't have access to such a moment of safety, of beauty, of peace. I could feel my own propensity at that awareness to shut down, to push away, to shut out my joy and veer toward guilt and despair. But with my benefactors present, my grandmother equanimity awareness, I could hold deep compassion alongside of deep gratitude, humility, and joy in this beautiful moment. I thought of intentionally people in other places in the world that didn't have safety in the moment. And as tears began flowing gently, I held their hearts with my heart and wished that they felt that they were not alone. And even in their perilous circumstances, that they had moments in which their hearts were sustained by the possibility of beauty and the reality of loving kindness. I was so grateful and felt such humility for all the causes and conditions, all the teachings and all the practice that came together in that moment that allowed me to let equanimity guide me through the joy and the sadness, the poignancy of this moment with my ears and eyes and heart and body, knowing deeply it's impermanent and feeling it more deeply because it can't be held, it can't be captured and made static, and wishing this fullness of heart and awareness to all beings. So thank you so much for your kind attention and listening. And let's practice together so we can sustain ourselves and all beings. So, as usual, let's first attend to our bodies, noticing what this body could use, what could bring a bit more ease and comfort to our physical being. What softening, what loosening, what slight movement, what fidgeting would be helpful to bring a bit more ease and comfort to our bodies. And then gently settling. In whatever way brings a bit more stability, feeling into the groundedness of seat on chair or cushion, body held by earth and its gravity. Noticing energies that are present and whether they need to be enlivened a bit and there's tiredness present, or restlessness needs some space for settling. Letting heart, mind, body, breathing settle into the spaciousness of stillness. The spacious heart of benefactor, grandmother, acceptance, kindliness, balanced equanimity. Perhaps even appreciating just what it feels like to sit and breathe with the presence of equanimity. appreciating each moment flowing into the next, each awareness blossoming from the last. And if the mind has wandered or become casual, just welcoming it back to center on this moment with all it entails, centering on equanimity. And just notice if it fits for you. If there's any part of your experience your heart can open up to just a bit more. And in the last few minutes, again, if it fits for you, widening your awareness in your heart to include all of us, sitting here alone together, each with our own joys and delights and stresses and challenges, holding each other in equanimity. And before I unmute,